All right. Finally. Let's let them trickle in. Let them trickle in here and then we'll get started. Well, I'm Jimmy and welcome to the Barrel Buddies today on this fine solo evening. I won't do the spiel, I won't do the song, right? Because that's typically not my role. So I'm just here to drink and have some shenanigans with you all this fine evening. See who joins our live chat tonight. And then, I'm going to try to make some room here for our beverages. There's the barrel for those that haven't been watching the show lately. Oh, let me put that here. There we go. Fantastic. Yeah. So apologies. We haven't been on the air. We've had just like life situations happen with us, and we've been out of pocket. And I did not want to go without a show tonight. So So I figured, you know what? Jimmy will go solo. Jimmy will have Cora. I have Bourbon Dog. She's right here. Come here, Cora. You gonna get on the show tonight? Come on. Let's get on the show. Come on, let's get on the show. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can get her chatting on camera here in a little bit. Anyway, so tonight we have a little. We need to talk E.H. Taylor, right? We need to talk E.H. Taylor because if any of you have your thumb on the pulse of whiskey news, you would hear a huge announcement from Buffalo Trace, which it seems a little polarizing. That they are adding a bottled in bond E.H. Taylor, E.H. Taylor to the BTAC collection in this fall release. And I don't know my personal opinion on it yet. But I did want to go through. So I have the news story here that was released from Whiskey Advocate on May 5th. So they put out an article that the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, so BTAC to most of you, they haven't had an edition since 2006 to the BTAC collection. So I'm really curious if anybody knows what that last bottle was in 2006. So for those that don't know, in that year, this is another fan folly, in my opinion, because I don't think it's that great. Was Thomas Handy. So Thomas Handy joined the crew, in 2006. And I would say probably out of all of the BTAC, outside of Eagle Rare 17, I was not a fan whatsoever. So for those that have had all the BTAC series, in my personal opinion, I think that if you stick to the Weller and if you stick to the George T. Stagg, that those are probably the best two options. There's some people are okay with the Saz 18. The Eagle Rare 17 is just not good in my opinion. Again, as we've talked on the show, age with bourbon doesn't mean better, right? So that's just one thing to keep in mind. I'm going to keep that there because we got a straight rye. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So you have to think about the state of the industry, right? So, what's the move here? Is it a money grab? I think it's a little bit of a money grab. BTAC, in my opinion, already, Buffalo Trace has jumped the shark, right? So they had BTAC come out. People go wild for it every fall when it comes out. MSRP is reasonable on these bottles, but if you guys even remember, there's been interviews with I think it's Julian Van Winkle when they talk about Pappy, and they purposely hold back they make it scarce on purpose, right? They basically hold back bottles, or they just don't. I don't think it's a matter of them distilling enough. I think it's just a matter of they themselves cause the scarcity in the industry to keep that price so high. And you look at it too from a from a bar, not a bar, but like a liquor store perspective. You know, you get somebody that comes in, some salesperson with one of these companies, and they're like, "Hey, so if you can sell, you know, 10,000 gross of Fireball minis and 500 bottles of Wheatley vodka handles," which for those who don't know, that's like Buffalo Trace's whiskey or vodka, very like bottom shelf. If you can sell this, we'll throw you a few bottles of the good old BTAC, and they're like, oh, get you all riled up for it. So, anyway, they do that. They know that they claim, a lot of these shop owners, everybody's caught on by now, guys. Like the hype's way over here with bourbon, that, that these bottles can sell for quite a bit on secondary. Obviously the market's completely deflated, and all the people that have been, I guess, doing this as a job, I guess now have to find jobs, or have had since found jobs, and that they can't sit in line overnight at a liquor store anymore and buy out some allocated bottles and then instantly go and flip them on Facebook groups anymore. So anyways, I digress. That was really quite the rant there. So you look at, E.H. Taylor, and, you have to wonder, like, what do we need this? Right. So it's 100 proof. It's bottle and bond, which, don't get me wrong, we've talked about bottle and bond before. It's like federally regulated, a bonded warehouse, really done during Prohibition to make sure that you weren't going to go blind drinking like bathtub gin, bathtub whiskey or something. So they talk a little bit about in this article about how important Colonel Edmund Haynes Taylor was. Yeah, I would say he's definitely an integral player, and they often call him the father of modern bourbon, right? And then you think of like some of the big hits like OFC, the old Fire Copper bottles, like they have some really crazy stuff out there. And then Taylor was part of that big push, and it was late 1800s. Yeah, so this is way before Prohibition, where they enacted that Bottled and Bond Act. So you basically have storage standards, consumer protection standards, and there you go. So in a nutshell, Buffalo Trace has said to honor him that they're putting this 100 proofer Bottled and Bond 50%er in the BTAC collection. So take that as you will. Is it going to be a little bit older? Maybe. We don't know. We're guessing that it's going to be that low rye mash bill, the number one. Because that's in a bunch of the other E.H. Taylor, expressions. But who knows? Who knows, right? We'll see this fall. What worries me, right, is in typical fashion of cheers, Thomas Anderson. Cheers. Neo, I like that. Cheers, welcome to the show. What worries me is that in typical secondary flipper fashion is that this is going to drop. People are still going to go nuts over it. It's going to be batch one and BTAC. It's going to, I would say we're probably looking at least $500 on secondary. If I had to guess, like if I had to put a price point on it, and they float it. I mean, these secondary flippers sort of set the bar for the prices in these big, like there's some big national Facebook groups out there, guys, where these people, they're like 60 to 80,000 members strong nationwide that are flipping bottles on a daily basis. So you kind of get your finger on the pulse of secondary prices, and you can see, some guy will just float it out there. I say they'll start big. You'll probably see like a 750, and then someone throws back 600. And then once that like first sale is done over the next like couple of hours, like, and this will happen like the day after BTAC is dropped, or maybe even before. Some of these people, have deals with, stuff falling off of trucks with some of these guys, and you'll see stuff that drops in these groups that you're like, how did these guys get it? They'll just throw something out there for random. It sells at, $500-$600, and boom, before you know it, that sets the bar. Everyone else like takes that price in the entire group and they run with it. And then they're like, oh yeah, first post sold for $750, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So you'll see that bottle just sell, I'm sure. So getting a hold of it, highly unlikely. We will definitely look for a pour of it, because as we know, the state of the industry and the state of the hobby right now is on the decline. And I've seen so much availability this year. You talk about Stag Junior, it is everywhere, or Stag now as they call it. Blanton's, like, our cup overfloweth with so much whiskey, and there's still a lot of FOMO, right? Like, I still see like new hobbyists that are like new people in the hobby that are like losing their minds, that still go and drive to go get $100 bottle of Blanton's. Oof, like, really guys, come on. But and we've already seen it. I think you're going to start seeing more bars offer these allocated bottles for decent prices, right? Like, I've seen most places, most fancy bars here in Vegas, like whiskey bars, you can get pretty much like any of the Wellers starting probably at like $20 a pour, like a solid 2 ounce. You can get a 107 special reserve. I see a lot of full proof out there too. A ton of store picks are out there. Like you see the that was it, the Barrel Select program. They've been very aggressive. I've been getting a lot of emails from them over the past couple of weeks and months of Blanton's raffles for Blanton barrels, Weller barrels. So there's so much, like, and I've never seen this before any other year. So they're out there. They have stuff just sitting in warehouses that has to go, rick houses. So they got to get it out there, and you got to bottle it and then store it somewhere. So they need to get it out to the masses. And this is one way of doing it. And I kind of think that leads into what E.H. Taylor might be doing. Is, they're just sitting on so much of this stuff, so much juice, right? That they're like, you know what? Hey, you get the marketers in a room and everyone's like, oh, let's get a BTAC going. So our $1 billion in revenue doesn't get hit by the decline in the hobby. And they try to kind of do a money grab, which is expected. I get it. They're running a business. It is what it is. And as Joe Consumer, I always tell you all to speak with your wallets, right? So, Uncle P, welcome to the show. Rolling solo tonight, so good to have you. So tonight, I wanted to, since we're talking about E.H. Taylor, let's jump into one of my favorites. I figured, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of E.H. Taylor. I would probably say it is all of the E.H. Taylor, except I'm not a huge small batch guy. I know a lot of people go nuts over small batch, but I don't like small batch. I think the single barrels, for some of our friends out there, like single barrel store picks, the infamous Meat and Deli pick in Northern Nevada was absolutely stellar, and we still look for those bottles. Those are fantastic. Pretty much most of the single barrel store picks are just so good. But since we're talking about bottled and bond, and I was like, you know what, let's see what I have. And I found that I had an unopened straight rye bottled and bond E.H. Taylor tonight to enjoy with you all. And this is actually one of my favorite E.H. Taylor. So we had this not too long ago. And then if you look behind me up on the top shelf there, way up top, I have a few of the E.H. Taylor barrel proofs, which are some of my favorite of all time. A little old fashioned. Welcome to the show. Cheers. Good to see you as well. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan of E.H. Taylor. And today we have the straight rye. So let's get into the stats. Bottle and bond. So 50% for our friends out there, 100 proof. And let's go into what the little spiel is on the back of the bottle. So the end of the 19th century saw the passage of the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897. Colonel Edmund Haynes Taylor Jr. was instrumental in passing the law, which safeguarded legitimate whiskey labels from bogus producers, who, in his words, polluted and diluted their whiskey. Oh, very smart, H. Taylor, very witty there. Bottle and Bond mandates that such whiskey must be from the same distillery, made in the same season, aged no less than 4 years, and bottled at 100 proof. This spicy and full-bodied 100 proof straight rye whiskey pays tribute to the classic American whiskey style and the Bottle and Bond Act of 1897. And it's interesting because it says go to our website at www.greatbourbon.com. And then there's an email, taylor@greatbourbon.com. I was like, okay. Distilled, aged, and bottled by the old-fashioned Copper Distillery, Frankfort, Kentucky, and all that jazz. So, yeah, very cool. But, yeah, you get the tax stamp on here, and let's get this open. Oh, it's got some nice plastic on it here. So let's get this plastic off. So let me know in the chat what you all are drinking with me tonight here. So let's put that there. For those that have been asking about the barrel, our Frey Ranch, for those that watched the show a few weeks ago, is locked and loaded in there. We have filled it up to the brim. I have not seen any leaking. So that first night, I went through and there was a little bit of some drips in our half pan here. But by the next day, they were gone. So they just kind of evaporated. And this has been rock solid and has not leaked since. So there you have it. That bottle will, that was a May 1st barreling, excuse me. So that barrel, we'll leave that in there. I would like to try it at the 3 month, 6 month, every 3 months. So basically every quarter, I'd like us to try it. So in May, then June, July, May, June, July. Is that 3 months or do we need to wait till August? But in 3 months, we'll give it a shot. And then we will just keep doing it every 3 months. So, oh, pretty good pop. Oh, quite the nose too. All right, let's do a little pour here. Oh, really good glugging going on here. I don't know if you guys heard that. Oh, yeah, that's a good one, Thomas. He's sipping on several different weeders tonight. Yeah, the Maker's Mark heart releases are nice. Is that the 25? I think it's Mocha. Was the 2025? That one was no, excuse me. It's not Mocha. That was last year. This one is, I don't know what this one was. But anyway, yeah. Okay, well, let's get into it here. So all right. Ooh, all right. Interesting. So it's I'm getting a lot of like malt, like honey. But like wow. Apricot, bready, malty, like a breaded malt. I know that's tough to convey, but like a malty breadiness, honey, and like I think of like Rice Krispies too. I know that sounds just really random. But it's a very light, very delicate nose. Oh, hey, Kevin, welcome to the show. One of the Lions from Greg Manarino sent you. We hope Greg's doing well. Please give him our best when you go back and see him in this chat. We've had him on the show a couple of times here at the Barrel Buddies, and it's always been a pleasure. And we always love to send fans back and forth and always give shout outs to each other's shows. And we know he is doing very well down there in Florida. And we hear that he got into drag racing or something like that. So shout out to one of the fellow Lions. Thanks for joining us tonight, Kevin. Really good to have you. And please give our best to the one and only Robin Hood of Wall Street, Greg Manarino. So always great to have a fan join us. So anyway, we're sipping on a little E.H. Taylor straight rye tonight. So let's get into it. So cheers, friends. Cheers out there. Ooh. Ooh, okay. So as you know, here we do the 3-sip rule. So what that means is drinking alcohol, it's basically like a poison, right? Let's be honest here. So there's a shock to your palate. There's a shock to the senses right out the gate. So you got to give it the 3-sip rule. That first sip is just going to be that shock and like, whoa, what is this? Second sip, you're like, okay, you're going to start easing into it. By then, you're going to have like that mouth coating, and you're already going to know what to expect. And then by the third sip, you're ready to go. That palate's ready, and what you're going to notice is flavor will develop, and you're going to get different flavors across the board. So very sweet and creamy is a good way to put it. I know mouthfeel, people are so sticklers about that, but yeah, it's very like kind of a sweet and creaminess to it. Um, ooh, mint, pepper, citrus, maybe like peppermint. So you get very, very interesting notes on this one. It's a really good sipper though, right? Like, even though I sometimes knock Bottled and Bond, and everybody goes crazy over a single barrel, like a barrel proof, barrel proof. I need to have hazmat. I need that 70%. You're like, okay, listen here. Go drink a bottle. Go down to CVS, buy a bottle of rubbing alcohol if you want something 70%. Okay. Do not like hazmats, in my opinion. I know everybody wants to flex and break it out at the parties and like just, oh, look at I got the hazmat, I got the 70% or Coy Hill or something. Guys, or I got some Canadian light whiskey, 25 years old, 70% obtanium. Come on. Like, you're really not getting much from it. So this one at 100 proof, 50% ABV is such a good sweet spot. Mr. Jimmy Jam, welcome to the show with his old granddad 114. I'm glad that recommendation panned out, and you've had some time to get used to it. And then if you'll notice, you probably have noticed that it does taste a little different from when you first bought it. If you bought it a few weeks ago, and now that's had a little bit time to oxidize in a good way, it's probably mellowed out a little bit, I would hope. But that's one of my favorites, along with Evan Williams Black Label and the old Granddad 114, are two of my bargain whiskey favorites. Bargain bourbon. Like, you can pretty much A, get those everywhere, and B, under $40 a bottle, like right around there. So, and again, talk about availability. I've seen a ton of the old Granddad and a ton of the Evan. Well, obviously Evan Williams has always been everywhere, but I've seen a more so of the Evan Williams single barrel. The old wax that was moved over to distillery only is now back on the shelves, which is really cool. Thomas, I totally agree with you. So he's saying that the lower proof Coy Hill from last year was one of the best. I completely agree. I was fortunate enough to have a sample at a big share. Shout out to our friends that go to Mr. Brandon's shares. It was fantastic. I would wholeheartedly agree. But I know that, you think about that first batch where they had some hazmat Coy Hills that were going for like $1,000 in secondary. It's like, guys, I don't know why you need to go hunt that down, right? So it is what it is. I know some people are doing that, but back to this straight rye, like on the finish, it's very light. I mean, what's great about it, all of these flavors that you get on the nose, that you get on the palate, that you get on the mouthfeel and the taste and the finish are all very similar. Like, it's just it's a light, it's a sweet, you get that pepperiness. It's not over oaked whatsoever. Like, it doesn't have that dry wine. Like, you're thirsty after you sip on it. Like, this quenches your thirst and is very nice on the palate. Really, yeah, this is good stuff. Apricot jam, pepper, a little vanilla custard, a little citrusy, sweet. Like, wow, it's tasty. And yeah, I mean, pepper apricot, you're like, what the heck? And I think you get that from the, the oakiness, obviously, right? But it goes together really, really well. Like, this is a wonderful, I think, sipping whiskey. You're sitting on the porch, hanging out, having some friends over. Really good stuff. So cheers again, everyone. Cheers. This is really tasty. And like, this is really, it has some legs on it. You're really getting some viscosity there. That could be attributed to some of that mouthfeel as well. Mmm. Mmm. Woo, woo, woo. Again, E.H. Taylor hits a home run all the time from, well, everything except the small batch. And the reason why I say that is I just think that the small batch isn't enough, right? I think that there's not enough there. And I think about, I want to compare it to maybe something that you guys have had so you can kind of gauge it with me here. And I'm going to do a quick glance back as to like where I would pin it. But man, what is it? I don't know. I mean, maybe the Jack Daniels Bonded. Maybe it's along that line where I thought it just wasn't enough. It needed a little oomph to put it over the, into the really good category. And I think that's where small batch falls. Like, it's just kind of like eh. But like I said, once you get into the single barrel expression, once you get into the straight rye expression, and then obviously the barrel proof, which thankfully the market is on the decline because the each Taylor barrel proof now, I can get them for like 200 ish, which I think is a steal. If you can get that E.H. Taylor barrel proof for 250, 250 is maybe a little bit on the high end, but it is at such a good price point over the 400 ish, 375, 450 that they were going for a couple of years ago. So if you're in some of these secondary groups and you're into high proof whiskey, I highly, highly recommend E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. It is it's in my top 3 whiskeys of all time, bourbon. So this straight rye, I think, is also right up there. I'd put it in like the top 20. Really tasty. So how we score here, nose, taste, value are your 3 categories. We rate it each category 0 to 3. And then at the end, we potentially could give it a blown away bonus, which gives you a total out of 10 score. So jumping right into the nose, very pleasant nose. I mean, nothing wrong with the nose. I think it's inviting. It is not. So, sometimes we open a bottle up on the show here and, I'll have like someone with me and they open up a bottle and like across the table, it just wafts like immediately. You're just like blown away. Like, whoa, that right there gets the nose a 3. It's most likely going to be stellar. This one, I didn't really get that when I opened this, but that's okay. I'm not going to ding it points for that because the nose is still very, very pleasant. Like I said, that almost like a lemony, like a sweet citrus, pepper, mint, apricot jam. Oh man, woo! Giving it a 3 on the nose. So there you go. Moving on to the taste. This checks all the boxes of the things I like and doesn't check any of the boxes of the things I don't like. And that is, as most of you know that are faithful fans of the show, I am not a big oak guy. I'm not a big that dry. I can't do. I used to be big into like Merlots and stuff like that, and that big dry, those dry wines. I can't do that anymore. It's like, get me the sweet mashed up donuts and a whiskey, beer, wine, and I guess not wine, but dessert wine or champagne. I've been drinking a lot of champagne lately. We'll get into that later on another show. But straight rye, this is solid. I'm going to give this a 3 on the taste. So we are 2 for 2 right now. 2 for 2 and a 3 and a 3, which is like, oh boy, where is this going? Another reason too, I think if if it welcomes you back, if you want to go back for another taste, that is another way to gauge a good whiskey, a good alcohol in general. There's so many times where I'll sip something and it's like my mind is telling me, you don't want another sip. Don't drink another sip. But this is welcoming, this is inviting. You want to go back, you want to jump right back in again. Yeah, very pleasant. So nose, we knocked out taste, 3 and 3. Value. All right, big drum roll. What are we doing with value here? So this is an interesting bottle. So let me pull up cost, like current cost, and then I'll tell you what I paid because I think this is at like 129 right now. Yeah, 129. So well, El Cerrito down in SoCal, you got it for 139. Come on, guys. What are you doing there? And then I've seen some places have it for 109. So you can get it for 109, you can get it shipped. So okay. So you're in like the 1 to 140 range. Not terrible. I think that this is definitely pretty much in the range where it should be. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm not 100% sold on that price at 140, right? I mean, that 109 was, I think, kind of an outlier that I just found. But the big box, Total Wine, El Cerrito, shout out to our friends down there at El Cerrito, 140-ish. I think is a little steep. I'd like to see this bottle at 99, maybe 89.99. So I'm going to ding it just because it's me and give it a 2. So right there, that puts us at an 8. So am I blown away? Are we all blown away? Have you guys had this before? I'm a little bit blown away. So I'm going to give it a half blown away bonus. So that's going to give this wonderful bottle an 8.5 out of 10 from me tonight. We have reviewed this before, and I don't remember what my score was last time. I'm going to have to go back in the archives and find out what I gave this bottle. But it's tasty. It's really good stuff. So there you have it. 8.5, 85 out of 100, 8.5 out of 10, half point blown away bonus. I highly recommend it. So what's great is that they still, all the A.H. Taylors come in these, very old school, very nice, beautiful tubes. The classic A.H. Taylor tube has his signature, has his visage there, his picture, and a little picture of the distillery. So yeah, very cool stuff here. Trying to think if there's any other information that I can pass on. That's on the tube here. No, very cool. But yeah, so you're going to find those E.H. Taylors in the tube, which is, I'm glad they still do it. It's kitschy and cheap, but not many places do that anymore. For those that are unaware, it was funny that this came up because you're like, what's with all these tubes in the packaging? Just like, don't spend money on that and put the money into your juice. So apparently in Asia, especially in like Japan, boxes, tubes, containers that bottles are produced in or that are shipped and sold in are like huge hit. And studies have found out there that those sell way more than just a nude bottle, like a non-boxed or tubed bottle. So it's just interesting, right? That is out there, but out in the West, we're like, just give us the bottle. We don't really care. So there you have it. That's my E.H. Taylor straight rye from Solo Jimmy here tonight. Man, here's what my plan is, and maybe we'll stay here on the show for a little bit, but my plan is just to keep drinking this and probably have a couple more pours of this tonight. So cheers. Bullish Brown, welcome to the show. How's it going? Such a tasty pour. All right, let's do it again. Let's see if we can get a. Oh, that was good. A little cork pop ASMR. So, not really any glugging anymore, unfortunately, but That's okay. All right. Ooh, spilled a tiny little bit there. That's all right. Again, second pour, we've got past the neck pour. I know some people are like, "Oh, it's a neck pour. The neck pour tastes like crap." Kind of a misnomer. Don't go there. But let's say we've gotten past the neck pour now. So let's see if anything's changed. Maybe. Nose, like I get a little bit more sweetness this go around. Plus my palate's been used to it, right? Like I've already had a pour now. Ooh, I'm actually getting a little bit more pepper, which isn't bad thing. It's very like a light black pepper with like a mintiness and then a sweet vanilla custard citrusy vanilla, like a vanilla custard. Maybe that's bringing that mouthfeel. Ooh, this is really good, guys. Again, keep an eye out for this. Keep an eye out for any of the EH Taylors in the tube, in my opinion, except for small batch. And if you like small batch, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That's fine. But I'm telling you, it really, EH Taylor steps up their game with the single barrel and above. So good stuff. Also, unfortunately, I don't know how up with the news. Hold on. Let me pull up something here. Give me a second. I wanted to get like the latest update. So, for those that didn't know, in early April, Buffalo Trace had a historic flood. They were in it literally almost underwater. There's pictures that if you use the internets, it does pop exactly like that, Kevin. Exactly. If you get some of the news stories, Buffalo Trace, historic flooding in Kentucky. Come here, Cora. What are you doing? What are you doing, Bourbon Dog? Come on the show. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Come here. So they've had historic flooding in early April. Very, very, very unfortunate, right, to our friends at Buffalo Trace. But there is good news from Buffalo Trace. So they reopened. So this flooding happened, I think, the beginning of April. They reopened the distillery for visitors. So the visitor center reopened on April 14th. And then by then, more than 75% of the debris and the flood damaged crap was removed. And then they also got their power back as well. So it only took 1 week for them to get back to normal, thankfully. They had a news release on April 15th, and they were saying that they got some contractors in. They had some dedicated teams. And they were able to get rid of all that flood damage within a week, which is awesome, right? So kudos to them. Really glad that they made it through that. There really wasn't any significant damage at the Buffalo Trace distillery. It always makes you worry, right? Because especially most of us are Buffalo Trace fans of their products. Think about stopping production of a distillery, and we probably would have had a dry spell for who knows how long, for a significant amount of time, due to that. And you'd also would have seen prices go up. So thankfully, that did not happen. They had a week turnaround time, and they're back in business now. So really good news on that from the Buffalo Trace front. So kudos to them for not getting impacted more by those storms. Thomas Anderson is saying a local liquor store had a stag pick coming in, but it's been delayed a couple of months. I've seen that and heard of that. So that's not the only instance. And also what I'm seeing is liquor stores that have a barrel pick from Buffalo Trace are getting them in like increments. So apparently, I guess they ship them as they bottle them. And that's part of the chain that is slowed down from the flooding, that they'll get like a partial order. So you actually might see them get an order in. So keep an eye on that store, keep in contact if they're on social media, or just go visit them. I like to do a round maybe once every 2 weeks. I'll do it like a lap around Vegas of a couple of stores. Just check in, right? because you'd be surprised when they get something. Out here, we had a place just got a Stag Junior. I guess Stag Junior. They just got a Stag, their barrel pick. They got in like a partial order, like 5 cases, and then they're getting another 6 cases, like supposedly in like a couple of weeks. So I think they're getting it. They're not getting it all at once. Usually you would get the barrel on a pallet with all of the bottles at once, and apparently they're shipping it out incremental. So just keep an eye out for that. Price point, in my opinion, $69.99 is typically the MSRP on a Stag Junior single barrel pick. Taste it first if you can. Usually most stores have a sample open. I like it. It's a great addition. It's a great flex. It's a great bottle to have at a party. It's a great addition to the bar. Would I want to drink it every day? Not really. To me, some of them come in real hot, real hot. I put it right there in line with the Old Forester single barrel expressions. When you hit like the 60s, those upper 60s, they vary wildly, but even at 60%, it's kind of like I'll have a pour and then it's kind of like game over. But something like this is just, I love it because it's at that 50% where you can just kind of keep going. Like this is something where you can have a night with like a 50% or with a bottle in bond. But those barrel proofs, you're out for the count after like 2 pours. Let's be honest here. You think you have 4 ounces of a 60-some% bourbon, you're done, Zell, in my opinion, unless you're just a degenerate drinker, which most of us are. Let's be honest here. But still, just be careful. That's all. But I highly recommend getting a bottle. Have it on the bar. I always think it's great to have one, and always great to have a backup. So if you can get 2, get 2. But I don't, like, personally, I don't go out there and hunt them down. So I was fortunate enough actually to unload a few. There was a bar that was looking for, some backfill, and I was able to help them out. I was sitting on a ton of Stag Junior, and it wasn't that I purposely went out there and was hunting them. It's just, it was always kind of like a kicker on a trade. Like somebody would want to do a trade and then they were like, oh, and I'll throw in a Stag Junior. And you're like, oh yeah, sure. It's kind of like currency. You're like, yeah, throw it in. And like that just kind of added up. And then there was some really good spots. And I'm all for supporting your local liquor stores, guys, like getting out there and making those relationships with these shop owners. Like we have a lot of stores in the vicinity in my neighborhood here in Vegas that were like doing that release, and it was $69.99. And you're like, heck yeah, I'm going to go in there. Corey's, there's a couple of our heavy hitters around here, some of our favorite watering holes that had these bottles for a great price point limit. I think they limited them to like 2 per person, but do it, have them on the shelf, have it. People like them. They're like I said, they just personally, just got to be careful drinking that. And don't get me wrong, like for those that know Zach is probably one of the heaviest drinkers I know, or was able to maintain his composure. I think one night we polished off a bottle of Stag between the 2 of us, and it was a bad night. It's a bad night. That's all I gotta say. So, well, there you have it, folks. That's an 8.5. I'm giving on the good old Colonel E.H. Taylor Straight Rye. So if you were just here for the review and not my BS, there you have it, or you probably left a long time ago. But that's all I got for you guys. As I said, we're going to check in on the barrel. Also, to throw it out there, just talking like schedule over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, I've had some people reach out that want to come on the show. So I want to start, getting some other people on the show, and I've just figured out this remote go live together feature that's on the YouTube mobile app. That's the only thing. It's on the phone, so you can't do it. I don't know why they don't let you do it on the desktop version, like on this, where I can like phone a friend basically and get them in on FaceTime, but you can do it on the mobile app. So I'm going to work out the logistics of that, and literally I can send a link out. If any of you guys want to join the show, shoot us an email, shoot us a message or a comment here at the Barrel Buddies, and we'll line something up. Again, there's no commitment. Just come on the show. We shoot the breeze, ask questions about whiskey and some of your favorites, but let us know. More than happy to get you guys penciled in. We're always happy to have guests on the show. So over the next couple of months, we'll do that. We'll have some guests. We'll taste I want to do a barrel taste soon of the mead barrel here, the Frey Ranch. I want to try it. I haven't tried it yet. I just want to see where it's at to see where it's going, if that makes sense, right? Because I just want to try it to see, like, oh, this is what it tastes now. And then a month from now, I really want to know how it's changed. And like I've said before on the show, guys, your palate, it's like it learns. So like you need to taste it. You need to know that. So then you know what to look forward to next time. So looking forward to doing that. I think we wanted to do a champagne show coming up. I'll have a special guest for that. And then we'll have some releases. I know there's some releases coming out, not from us, but from some local stores around town. We'll do some live shows too. We'll go on location. So, and maybe we'll do that with some of the since we'll be on the mobile device anyways, which kind of forces us to be mobile. We'll just do the mobile and then phone a friend from like a watering hole that's around the neighborhood. So more to follow on that. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell, the spiel that I need to give you all. And there you have it. So that is E.H. Taylor Straight Rye. And thank you all for joining tonight. So we'll catch you next week. Apologies that the show ran a little late on time today. But for the Barrel Buddies, I'm Jimmy. And have a week, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Take care. Thank you. Thank you all. Cheers. Cheers, friends. Cheers. Let me do a little cheers. Bam. All right. All right. We'll see you next week, guys. Take care. Kevin, give Greg our best. All right. Take care, all. Bye.